"Ma'am, I'm afraid this store might be out of your budget," the salesgirl, Emily, said with a smirk, eyeing the elderly woman's plain dress and scuffed shoes. Margaret Evans simply smiled. If only they knew. With one phone call, she could flip their world upside down, and by tomorrow, she'd do just that. In the heart of New York City, where skyscrapers scrape the sky and the streets hum with ambition, lived Margaret Evans. At 67, she was one of the richest people in the U.S., her fortune enough to make Wall Street big shots blink twice. Yet, despite her staggering wealth, Margaret lived simply. She believed real happiness came from giving, not owning, and found peace in modesty. Her wardrobe? Plain dresses from thrift shops and a trusty pair of worn-out shoes. No designer labels, no glitzy jewels. Her silver-streaked hair stayed tucked in a neat bun. To the world, she was just another old lady, maybe a retired librarian or a grandma, savoring her later years. No one would have guessed she ran Evans Global, a powerhouse spanning tech to real estate. Margaret's kindness was the stuff of legend among those in the know. She poured millions into charities, funded scholarships for kids who'd otherwise miss out, and even rolled up her sleeves at homeless shelters. But she shunned the spotlight, keeping it quiet. Her assistant, a sharp, driven woman named Lauren Brooks, was one of the few who grasped the full scope of Margaret's wealth and clout. One crisp fall morning, Margaret decided to treat herself to a new piece of jewelry, nothing fancy, just something simple and elegant. She'd heard of a small, family-owned shop in Manhattan called Golden Keepsakes, famous for its handmade designs. It catered to the city's elite, with steep prices and a clientele of wealthy socialites. Dressed in her usual Gatupa, faded green dress and a threadbare sweater, Margaret stepped inside, the doorbell jingling her arrival. The store was quiet, save for a few employees tidying display cases. One of them, Emily, glanced up and instantly wrote Margaret off as someone who didn't belong. "Can I help you?" Emily asked, her tone thick with sarcasm. "Yes, I'd like to see a necklace," Margaret replied politely, peering at the cases. Emily smirked, shooting a glance at her co-worker, Daniel. "Well, these pieces are pretty pricey. Maybe you'd feel more at home somewhere else," she said, her voice dripping with mockery. Margaret's chest tightened. She'd faced this kind of snub before, but it always stung. She took a breath, brushing it off. "I'd like to see that one," she said, pointing to a delicate gold chain with a tiny sapphire pendant. Emily rolled her eyes but grabbed it. "This one's $5,000, she said, lingering on the price like it was a warning. Margaret studied it lovely, but the attitude soured it. She handed it back. "Thank you, but I'll look elsewhere." As she turned to go, Daniel muttered to Emily, "Can you believe she thought she could afford that? Some people don't know their place." Margaret's face flushed, but she kept her chin up and walked out. She'd always treated everyone with respect, no matter how they looked or where they stood. The scene at Golden Keepsakes was a harsh reminder that not everyone saw it that way. Back in her penthouse, gazing at the skyline, Margaret couldn't shake the hurt. She believed in second chances, but actions had consequences. The staff had judged her by her clothes cruelly, needlessly. She picked up her phone and called Lauren. "I need you to do something," she said firmly when Lauren answered. "Of course, Margaret, what's up?" "By Golden Keepsakes. Today." A pause. "You sure?" Lauren asked, knowing Margaret wasn't impulsive. "Yes, I want it now." Lauren didn't push. "Consider it done. By day's end." Lauren sealed the deal. The owner, Thomas Reed, jumped at the offer. His store was bleeding cash, and Evans Global's bid was a lifeline. Next morning, Margaret returned, Lauren at her side. The shop was closed to the public, staff summoned to the showroom. Thomas was there, fidgety and intrigued by the sudden sale. As Margaret entered, the employees, recognizing the woman they'd mocked, went pale, swapping nervous looks. Emily and Daniel looked like they'd seen a ghost. Thomas stepped up. "Everyone, meet the new owner of Golden Keepsakes, MS. Margaret Evans," he said, voice shaky. Silence hit like a brick. Margaret scanned their faces, calm but steely. "Thank you, Thomas," she said, then faced the staff. You're probably wondering why I bought this place. Yesterday, I came for a necklace. Instead of respect, I got mockery judged by how I looked. That's not okay. It's the opposite of what I stand for. Heads dropped. Emily and Daniel seemed to shrink. I believe in second chances, Margaret went on, but also accountability. This store will run on new values now: kindness, respect, inclusivity. If you can't live up to that, you don't belong here. Nods came slow, regret heavy. Emily stepped forward, teary. MS. Evans, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I hope you'll forgive me. Margaret paused, then nodded. Apology accepted. But remember, kindness is free. Never judge by appearances. You don't know who someone is. Under Margaret, golden keepsakes transformed. Prices eased up, profits partly went to charity, and staff now clued and treated everyone right. She popped in often, still in her simple threads, earning love not just for her wealth, but her heart. Emily and Daniel learned fast. Real worth isn't cash or status, it's how you treat people. Margaret became their quiet hero, proving it daily. Word of the billionaire in humble clothes spread across the city, a lesson in not judging a book by its cover. For Margaret, it was proof kindness and principle could shift the world. The takeover buzz beyond the store media pounced, thrusting her into a spotlight she'd dodged for years. Reporters begged for interviews, but she stayed low-key, granting one to Ethan Carter, a journalist known for depth and heart. In it, Margaret opened up. Everyone deserves respect, no matter what they wear or where they're from, she said. What happened showed we got work to do, but also that change is real. Even small steps matter big. The piece hit a major paper, went viral, and sparked a wave. Social media lit up with support. Kindness counts trended globally. Margaret's sway grew not just in NYC, but nationwide. She became a beacon of humility, her tale taught in classrooms and preached in pews. Golden Keepsakes set a standard. Its inclusive vibe caught on with other businesses. Emily, now manager, spoke at events, pushing respect's ripple effect. I got a second chance, she'd say. I'm here to keep Margaret's change alive. Daniel found purpose too, volunteering and sharing how she'd flipped his outlook. Years rolled on. Margaret stayed, true funding causes, savoring books, gardens, and family. One day, in her flower-filled yard, she reflected on that store moment and its fallout. She smiled. Her legacy wasn't just money, but lives touched. Margaret passed peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by loved ones. Her funeral drew a crowd from every corner, people she'd inspired. Lauren's eulogy nailed it. Margaret Evans was more than a billionaire. She was kindness, humility, purpose. She gave second chances and lived what she believed. Her wealth wasn't dollars, it was impact. Long after, Golden Keepsakes thrived as her beacon, staff like Emily honoring her code. Her legend lived in NYC, a woman who showed true riches lie in influence, not bank accounts. Every visitor to the store felt her lesson. Don't judge by the surface, you might miss the greatness underneath.